Research and recording of Canadian creepies happens on the shared land and traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties. A key treaty governing this territory is the Dish with One Spoon Agreement. This treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee people binds them to share and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, settlers, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. We all share the responsibility of ensuring the dish is never empty, meaning we must take care of the land and the creatures we share in it. Canadian Creepies covers true crime, dark history, and disturbing events. Some episodes may include graphic descriptions or sensitive subject matter. We do our best to handle every story with care and respect for those affected. That said, we sometimes use humor and sarcasm as a way to process heavy content, never to disrespect victims, survivors, or their families. Listener discretion is advised. Hey creeps, and welcome back to Canadian Creepies, the podcast where true crime, folklore, hauntings, and all things unsettling come to curl up under your skin. I'm Valerie.
And I'm Amanda. And if you're new here, we're so glad that you found us. And if you've been listening for a while, welcome back, weirdos.
We've got a heavy one for you today, but before we dive in, what's up, girlfriend?
Stuff and things and stuff.
I love that answer. That's so good. Last time, I know there's... so last time we talked about some podcasts I wanted to shout out, and I think I forgot one very important one. It's a Canadian one called It Came from the Maritimes. Have you seen that one?
I follow them on Instagram. I haven't, honestly, sorry guys, I haven't listened to them yet, but they are on my list.
They're in your episodes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many do you have now?
Oh, fuck.
Too many?
I don't even know. Yeah. There's a few of them. This week, we do have some celebrations coming up as well.
Yes.
We're not recording this on a Thursday, but when this comes out on the Thursday, it's Val's birthday.
Hey, yeah, it is.
It is your birthday. You're like, I forgot.
I did forget.
So if you guys have a second, be sure to pop over to Instagram or anywhere else you can reach Val and wish her a happy birthday.
Oh, you're too funny. Thank you. That's so nice.
I love that you forgot your birthday.
Yeah. I'm so busy these days.
See, my birthday is such a big deal to me that I'm like, it's this many days away. And I make a big deal out of other people's.
I think when it comes to my birthday, like I'm a little like maybe walled up because of like addiction stuff. You and mental health stuff. But now I'm sort of like embracing it again and just like, so yeah, I'm excited. 35.
Yay!
35. That'll be a good year. What else is on Thursday?
Not Thursday, but the following day is Letha.
That's how it's pronounced.
Yes, Letha.
Okay.
It is a pagan Sabbat that celebrates and honors the sun.
What's a Sabbat?
So a Sabbat are... so if you're in the pagans, particularly the Wiccan communities, they are essentially like their holidays. There's 8 major holidays that they follow according to the wheel of the year. Okay. So technically, pagan is an umbrella term. It's any religion that does not fall under the Abrahamic Bible. So essentially, if you're not Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism, everything else is considered pagan. Okay. And back then, like it's older than Christianity, predates Christianity. Most of those religions, like Wiccan, I think came out in the 60s or 50s maybe. Okay. It's one of the newer pagan religions. The animals are going crazy.
Yeah. We're talking about witchcraft.
But everything that they did followed nature. Like when they got their food, a lot of people think Samhain or Halloween was like the scariest time of year because it deals with the idea of death and the afterworld. But actually Yule, which is Christmas for other people,
yes,
or the winter solstice is one of the scarier times of year because it was the darkness. It was when people actually died, either from the elements or
that makes so much sense.
Starvation, lack of water. Like there was all sorts of real threats to morality at that time. And this one is kind of the opposite. It celebrates the sun and everything that comes with it, all the abundance that nature gives us during this peak time when it's awake and active. Yeah, so it kind of worship. The sun is a big focus, and ways to honor that are basically just go out and enjoy nature. Go for a hike, go to the beach, play in your garden, sunbathe. Bonfires are a big one as well, thinking like the sun and fire. Yeah. Being the sun.
Yeah.
Decorating your altar. I like to put fresh flowers on my altar. So sunflowers are a big one. Roses are another one for this particular Sabbath.
Yeah.
And then
that makes sense because roses are my birth flower.
Yeah, for June.
Yeah.
For the month of June.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay. My things are so 80s, roses and pearls.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm July. I don't know what my flower is actually. I know I'm ruby.
Oh, okay. I like ruby.
Yeah.
I always was jealous when I was like, damn it. You know, like, because in the 90s, those, like, all the, like, birthstone stuff was huge.
Very.
Like, yeah, I think actually that's something that transcends time is, like, your birth month stuff. And everything that goes along with it. Everybody's, like, very interested. This discovery of the self.
Yeah. 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 That's exactly it.
But if you're listening to this on the day it comes out on Thursday, now you have enough warning to, I mean, all the things you suggested are fairly achievable.
Very easy. Yeah. Witchcraft doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah. And it's not supposed to be.
No.
Right?
A lot of that is honoring yourself as well.
Right? Yeah. I gotta meditate again. I've been too busy. I've been so busy I forgot my own birthday.
Meditate on your abundance that day. Go sit in the backyard, sit in the sun.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And just meditate on, or light a candle. Even that too is good for the celebration of that Sabbath. It's
true. I
goes
have
back
many
into
candles.
the fire and the light.
Okay, I will do that. Well, hold me accountable.
I will.
Okay, I love that. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I think that was the main points I wanted to hit.
Nice. Awesome.
I dig it.
All right. It's been dug. Let's get into it. So today's episode is titled The Boy on Yonge Street, The Murder of Emanuel Jaques.
This is one of Toronto's most haunting true crime cases. In the summer of 1977, the brutal murder of a 12-year-old shoeshine boy shocked the city, igniting a wave of outrage and changed Yonge Street and Toronto forever.
This episode deals with some extremely difficult subject matter. We're talking about the sexual assault and murder of a child, as well as the systemic failures that left vulnerable kids unprotected in plain sight. Please take care while listening, or skip this one if it's not right for you today. I was like, is that a spoiler? And I was like, no, that's a warning.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll read first.
Sounds good.
And then do you want to do the next one?
Sure.
Okay. A young life in Toronto's Portugal village. Emanuel...
Bless you.
Thank you. Emanuel Jaques. It's Jaques. Jaques was born on October 8th, 1964. Oh my goodness. Who do I know who was born on October 8th? I'm going to tell you. Because in late September, early October is birthday season in my family. Oh my goodness, no one is born October 8th.
Oh,
what are the chances
look
of
at your schedule.
I know, I'm sorry. The purple are the birthdays.
That's like this week for me.
Yeah.
It's all birthdays. It's your birthday, my partner John's birthday, my sister's
I forgot.
birthday.
When's John's birthday? The 18th.
The 18th.
Yeah, it's almost his birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, so Emanuel was born October 8th, 1964, to Azorean immigrant parents who had moved to Toronto seeking a better life. He grew up in the heart of Portugal Village, a tight-knit working-class neighborhood known today as Little Portugal. Like many children in the community, Emanuel worked early to help support his family, a reflection of the economic vulnerability faced by many immigrant households at the time. At just 12 years old, so yeah, they were like, he was straight up like, I'm going to work at 12. At 12.
Children in STEM.
Children in STEM. And, you know, shoe shining is a lot more gritty work than like a paper route, let's say.
Yeah.
In my opinion. At just 12 years old, Emanuel spent his days working as a shoeshine boy on Yonge Street in the seedy stretch that was dotted with adult stores, massage parlors, and neon lights. Oh, so and he was also being exposed to
a very adult subject matter.
Excellent. He would stand on the curb polishing shoes for a few dollars at a time, his hard work and innocence making him a familiar and sympathetic presence on the bustling strip. Okay. He sounds like a great lad.
You know what? He's taking care of his family.
That's exactly what he's doing. I do have to check this because could be my groceries. Oh, my shopping's complete.
Oh, hooray.
That's great. Now I don't have to check it. As we were just saying, that's like a perfect segue into Emanuel's childhood of responsibility. And for many Portuguese family in the 1970s, child labor was a necessity, not a choice. Many immigrant parents worked long hours, and children contributed financially to their households. One historian noted that working prided itself on being a communal effort. It was a common economic strategy to have every able-bodied member of the household, including children, to support the household's finances. Emanuel begged his parents to let him shine shoes on Yonge Street because as a young boy, he noticed he could earn significantly more there than in their neighborhood, a sign of both his industriousness and his financial pressures his family faced. I'm like very proud of him for...
That's such a mature
outlook. Right? He's like, I can't make enough money here.
Business savvy.
Going to Yonge Street. I'll get myself there, he probably thought.
Which was probably hitchhiking as well.
Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Also super dangerous.
Yeah.
Wow. So living in pre-car wash Toronto, Yonge Street in the mid to late 70s was known as a rough, adult-oriented entertainment district dubbed Toronto's Sin Strip. I did not know that. But that makes sense because at the same time, New York was doing the same thing. Yeah. And I feel like Toronto's always quite similar to New York.
It has very similar city vibes.
Yes. Toronto was lined with body rub parlors, adult bookstores, seedy restaurants, and cheap hotels. For young boys like Emanuel, trying to work in this environment meant they were unusually exposed to harm, yet unprotected due to their age, ethnicity, and economic status. Little Portugal was a place of community solidarity, but also vulnerability. Children like Emanuel were both loved locally and overlooked systematically. He would have been so cherished in his household for contributing, and also his, like we talked about, his industriousness, his entrepreneurial ship.
He was a smart kid.
He was ready to go. He was ready to
going places.
He was going places. At the time of Emanuel's death, Toronto's Portuguese community had little political representation or social safety infrastructure. They were often seen as outsiders in the broader city landscape. After the tragedy, the community rose up, not just in grief, but also in political action. So after everything happened. I'm not going to say that next part because we'll just wait. It'll be more impactful later. Do you want to go through the crime?
Sure. So the timeline, July 28th to 29th in 1977, there is the lure. On the 28th, Emanuel, then 12 years old, was shining shoes at Yonge Street and Dundas when a stranger offered him $35 to carry photograph equipment.
Oh my goodness. Let's do the conversion, though, of that.
I thought about that when I was reading the notes for this episode. It was a very lucrative sum for a young boy.
Yeah.
even now, if you were like to a 2-year-old, I'll give you a toonie. They're like, yeah.
Right. Kids love money. Because kids know adults love money.
Yeah.
I'm getting the answer. It's coming. Oh my gosh. $35 in 1977 would be approximately $180.79 in 2025.
Yeah, I would
accounting for average inflation over that time.
I mean, a 12-year-old me would be like, done. Done.
Almost $200? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I will help you move some, I move photographic equipment all day.
Yeah, that's your gig.
For those of you who don't know, that's what I do professionally outside of this podcast.
That's right. Icing sugar photography.
Yes. According to eyewitnesses, Emanuel's brother and friend were also approached, but the stranger selected Emanuel alone. Excited, he convinced his family to let him go, not realizing that it could be the last time they ever saw him alive.
Oh, that's tragic.
Like the hindsight you would have after that situation.
The shame, the guilt.
Gut-wrenching.
Yeah, just awful.
Then he was taken to a body rub parlor.
No!
Emanuel was brought to an apartment above Charlie's Angels. How appropriate for the time.
Right.
Massage body rub parlor at 245 Yonge Street, part of the infamous Sin Strip. It was a prosperous, seedy district which made it easy for criminals to operate without scrutiny.
Ugh.
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so. So it was an apartment above the body rub parlor.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross. Right? That's bad. I don't want to be there.
Just give me body shudders.
That's right.
It's like one of those ones where you walk in the room and you just like, I don't want to touch anything. I'll
stand, thanks.
Yeah. No, I don't want to see. Thank you.
Yeah.
The glass of water, I'm good.
I'm okay.
There was a horrific 12-hour assault. For roughly 12 hours, Emanuel was restrained, sexually assaulted, strangled, and drowned in the kitchen sink.
Oh my gosh.
According to the trial evidence, okay, you did the research. What is this name?
I think it's Bettish.
Bettish. He held the boy
only because it's the 70s, so I don't think it's Bettesh.
Yeah.
So it's the 70s in Toronto. I don't know. I think it's Bettish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this guy held the boy in the kitchen sink until he drowned, while Cribs,
another one of them,
restrained Jaques' legs.
Ugh. So one drowned him while one held his legs. So far we know of there's two.
Discovery of his body. Days after his disappearance, Emanuel's body was discovered on the roof of the building, concealed under a pile of woods. Framework for the discovery was laid when gay activist George Hislop
Yep.
Received a confession tip-off from Saul Besesh.
Yeah, Saul Bettish.
Bettish,
yeah. Okay.
That's 12 hours.
Oh.
12 hours.
That's brutal.
So then there's the confession and the arrest. So Saul Bettish, who was 27, he called Hislop late that night, confessing, "I killed the boy," and disclosing details of the location. Bettish was the first to be arrested. And on his tip-off, 3 others, there was Robert Wayne Cribs, who was 41.
Ugh.
Such the age gap too. Why are you hanging out with 20-year-olds?
Yeah, why are you hanging out with 20-year-olds?
Like, that's sketchy.
And coming up with this gross, disgusting plan to lure a 12-year-old away from his family. You know he's going to ask his family permission. Ugh. Horrible humans.
The quiet rage I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, right?
There was also Joseph Woods, who was 26, and Werner Grunner.
Werner Gruner,
which is
hey, whatever.
He was 28 and working as a doorman at Charlie's Angels, and they were arrested while boarding a train en route to Vancouver. So they were trying to run.
Yeah. They were getting out of Toronto.
So there were voices and reactions. George Hislop described the chilling call from Besesh on Bedish. It's because we said it, so now I'm reading it that way. And how that confession had led to Emmanuel's body being found.
Sachi
Cole, writing in
Hazlitt.
What is Hazlitt?
I think it's
Is it maybe a newspaper?
I know Sachi Cole's like she wrote for BuzzFeed, I think. I'll see. Hold on. What is Hazlitt? It's a magazine. It's a Canadian online publication that features literary essays, commentary, and cultural writing.
So it would have been physical in the 70s then?
Well, no, she wrote this recently.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. She reflected, when Emanuel was eventually found, there was a public outcry. Street kids and runaways came forward to say that they too had been drugged, tied up, and abused at the same place.
Oh, that's awful. So for him, like, it's like they just like got carried away with, or like, and was it always them, or was it just like a group of men who just like did this?
Yeah.
And do you see what happens when we vilify sexualities?
Mm-hmm. The entire time I was reading the story, I was like,
they could have.
If brothels were a legal thing that had government registry, like regulations.
Oh, okay. We're going different places with this.
Oh.
Okay.
But I was thinking, like,
but agreed. Both brothels are legal in Ontario. The problem is, I feel like they're all run by like organized crime.
There needs to be more government regulations to protect those people.
Totally.
Yeah.
That, but I was thinking also it's like about a form of, because they're not in touch with their sexualities.
Right.
It's coming out in aggressive and fucking weird ways.
There was a lot of shame about being gay or different.
Not maybe
like
they're just bi or fluke, like whatever it pan. Maybe they're pansexual. We don't know.
You've had thoughts that weren't the typical norm.
Yeah, and then
for that time,
they, instead of being able to like safely explore those thoughts, vocalize. Yeah, or even vocalize. It festered into this like gross, disgusting groupthink of I don't know. The groupthink of harm a child is just, there's so many of you to say, let's not do this.
Right.
Let's not do this.
How is there no voice of reason?
You know? Yeah. And it's also like, I don't want to say these things happened because of these people's sexuality. Does that make sense? But I do think
I get what you're saying.
Obviously, if Emanuel was sexually assaulted, then there is a sexual component to the crime.
There wasn't an open
right? Now,
space.
whether that's pedophilia or they weren't sure about their sexuality and they were just like trying some weird other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. There wasn't a safe space for them to express that sexuality and explore it. And there's people do weird shit when they're not okay mentally and can't express themselves.
Yes.
And not that justifies what they did, but
I agree. Yeah.
Trying to understand why people do some messed up stuff that they do.
Yeah. And it's not like, sometimes people think like understanding it means like automatic empathy.
No.
And that's not.
It's just so foreign for what you and I would do or think. It's like, how is that
How did
possible?
you get to that point? How when you woke up to that morning, what brought you to that?
You looked at this little boy and
Werner Gruner. That's the worst name. Werner Gruner. It sounds like you're stumbling on your own words. Werner like Gruner.
You've got a mouthful of cotton.
Yeah. What's your name? I'm Werner Gruner.
His parents must not have liked him very much.
That man really had to introduce himself like that. Name's Werner. Werner Gruner. My love.
It was a tongue twister to say, too.
Tongue twister. You. Yeah, you. Still haunting the same old fast fashion? Time to dig up something better with Back from the Dead Goods, a Canadian small business where forgotten threads get a second life and sustainability meets spooky. This isn't just upcycled clothing. It's resurrected fashion with an eerie edge. Handpicked, reworked, and revived, every piece is as unique as a ghost story whispered at midnight. And because you're a part of the Canadian Creepies family, you get an exclusive deal. Use code CanadianCreepies at checkout for 10% off. Find them lurking on Instagram, Etsy, and Poshmark. Links are in the episode description. Give your wardrobe a second chance at life, if you dare. Hey creeps, it's Valerie here. And if you're anything like us, you love capturing a moment, whether it's spooky, sweet, or somewhere delightfully in between. Let me introduce you to our go-to for stunning shots, darkroom photography, based right here in the heart of the Niagara region. Mel, the brilliant eye behind the lens, is a lifestyle and creative photographer who brings a little bit of magic and maybe a touch of mystery to every session. She's got all her prices listed right on her website, super transparent, no tricks, and she runs killer seasonal specials around Mother's Day, Halloween, Christmas, and more. I'm telling you, her Halloween sessions, creepy perfection. So, if you're in the Niagara area and looking to capture memories that are hauntingly beautiful, hit up Mel at mel@darkroomphotography.ca or check out her work at www.darkroomphotography.ca. That's Darkroom Photography, where your memories come to life, even in the dark. Support reproductive justice in Niagara. Niagara Reproductive Justice is a grassroots collective based in the Niagara region of Ontario, working to increase visibility and access to sexual and reproductive health care. They support people seeking abortion and other essential care by offering transportation, financial assistance, logistical help, and emotional support. Here's how you can help. You can make a one-time donation. Send an e-transfer to niagarareproductivejustice@gmail.com. Your support helps cover costs like gas for volunteer drivers, overnight stays, childcare, and other urgent needs. You can also support monthly via Patreon. Join their Patreon and support the cause month to month. It's patreon.com/Niagara Reproductive Justice. And you can volunteer your time. NRJ is always looking for volunteers to help with driving, outreach, admin support, and community organizing. If you're looking to make a real impact in the Niagara region, this is a great place to start. Contact them via email or DM them on Instagram or Facebook to learn more. You can find them on Instagram at Niagara Reproductive Justice and on Facebook at Niagara Reproductive Justice. Help amplify access to reproductive care right here in our own backyard. Whether you donate, volunteer, or spread the word, you're a part of the movement. All right.
So yeah, key takeaways for this was Emanuel was deceived with the promise of money, leading him into a deadly trap. Mm-hmm. His murder spanned hours of torture, sexual violence, and ended in strangulation and drowning.
Horrible.
His body was concealed on the roof, only found after a confession.
Okay.
You noticed what I did there.
Yes, I did.
And the crime team included 4 men, and 3 were ultimately convicted. Why only 3?
Well, we're going to
get into that.
I hope my research did me justice here.
The case's horror and brutality triggered public outcry and a profound shift in Toronto's approach in urban safety. I would hope so.
I would also hope so. Let's get into the investigation, trial, and convictions. So a few days after Emanuel went missing, one of the perpetrators, Saul David Beddish, made a startling confession. He phoned George Hislop, a well-known Toronto gay rights activist, and told him, "I killed the boy." But why would he call him, I wonder? Beddish confessed that Emanuel had been murdered and hidden on the roof of a building on Yonge Street. Hislop immediately alerted the police. "You go, George Hislop, you go, good man," and urged Beddish to seek legal counsel. Beddish turned himself in shortly thereafter.
Guilty conscious.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Fuck yeah. With Beddish in custody and cooperating, the investigation rapidly expanded because he's cooperating. The cop's like, let's go. He implicated 3 other men. Robert Wayne Cribbs, Joseph Woods, and Werner Gruner.
Werner Gruner.
Werner Gruner. It sounds like the Swedish chef from the Muppets. Werner Gruner. And they, all of whom worked as doormen at the massage parlor. Oh my goodness. All of them worked at the massage parlor.
They were not Charlie's Angels.
Where the murder occurred. And they were not Charlie's Angels.
No.
They were not. Police located and arrested them aboard a train in Sioux Lookout, Ontario, as they attempted to flee to Vancouver. Saul David Bedish was convicted of first-degree murder. Evidence showed he was the primary aggressor, having sexually assaulted Emanuel and then drowned him in the kitchen sink while his accomplices restrained the boy. Ugh, that's making my stomach churn.
You're disgusting.
It's actually gross. His confession was key to both the recovery and of the body and the convictions that followed. Cribbs pleaded guilty to first-degree murder as well. He admitted to helping restrain Emanuel while Bedish carried out the killing. His guilty plea avoided a full trial and likely spared the family further trauma. So, I mean, at least there's that.
Something.
Joseph Woods was found guilty of second-degree murder while he participated in the events leading up to and during Emanuel's assault and death. The court determined that he did not play a premeditated role equal to Bedish or Cribbs. Okay. And our buddy Werner Gruner was acquitted. What? Though he had some connection to the apartment and was known to the other men, there was insufficient evidence to prove his involvement in the murder itself. His role was considered peripheral. He had apparently opened the door to the building but did not take part in the crime. Okay.
He
just opened the door. Yeah.
So did you see these men?
Did you know that that's what they were going to do?
Either way, if
you
I
knew
saw
that that's what they were going to do.
A bunch of grown men
taking a small boy.
Up into
These are your work colleagues.
Right.
You know? These are your buddies from work. You know what they're about.
I would literally be like, so cops, I just saw the strangest thing, even if it's turns out to be nothing,
right?
It's worth
or would
looking
you assume
into.
It's like one of them's his dad?
If you work with them, though, I mean...
Oh, yeah, you work with them.
Right? You would know whether or not
you know what they're up to.
Kids.
You totally know what they're up to, yeah. So the justice system with this case moved very swiftly, likely due to intense public pressure. The combination of a child victim, a sexual assault, and the shock of the crimes brutally forced a more decisive and open response than many cases involving marginalized victims typically received at the time. Each accused was dealt with according to their level of involvement. Bedish, the ringleader, received the harshest sentence. Cribbs' guilty plea ensured the details of the assault were confirmed without forcing the family through a long trial, and Wood's lesser conviction reflects his secondary role, and Gruner's acquittal remains controversial but consistent with the lack of direct evidence tying him to the murder. What do you think? I think he knew more than...
I think he knew more than what he was leading on.
Yeah, but with the Canadian justice system, we're like, well, we'd rather have him go free than accidentally... No, we wrongfully accuse and convict people all the time. I take that back. The death of Emanuel Jaques devastated Toronto's Portuguese immigrant community. Understandably, this would have been horribly a group traumatizing event for them. That's awful. The Jaques family, like many others, had come to Canada in search of safety and opportunity. Instead, they were left to mourn their son in the public eye. Thousands attended Emanuel's funeral. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
At St. Agnes Church, a show of solidarity and grief. The community, typically quiet and politically underrepresented, erupted in outrage. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Understandably. Mm-hmm. Roughly 12,000 people rallied in Nathan Phillips Square, demanding that the city clean up the Yonge Street strip, known at the time for its body rub parlors, adult stores, and sex work. These protests were passionate but peaceful, but it's like, well, I wish, there should be somewhere for them to do the sex work safely.
Yes, I do agree.
There's got to be somewhere for them to do the sex work safely. The protests were passionate, and it can't be like a seedy,
No, sex work is real work.
It's real work. Why not like above like a dentist office?
Right?
Why not?
There needs to be more safety regulations overall.
Overall, yeah. The protests were passionate but peaceful, and with many speakers urging dignity and justice over vengeance. One community editorial urged people to recognize the motivation behind the protests. They are not people thirsty for blood, but people desperate for safety. Yes, because they immigrated to Canada with the basic expectation of safety.
Yeah.
They were like, we will send our children to work, but we demand safety.
And I don't think that's something that should even have to be demanded.
Yeah, it shouldn't have to be demanded, and you shouldn't have to trade your children's innocence and childhood for safety.
It's a necessity. Safety is not a luxury.
Yeah, agreed. The public response led to a crackdown on Yonge Street businesses seen as morally questionable. However, some of the momentum from the outrage was later redirected in harmful ways, such as police crackdowns on Toronto's gay community,
of course,
culminating in the 1981 bathhouse raids known as Operation Soap. Oh, so they did a bit of an overcorrection there. For those of you wondering, yes, that is the
groceries.
No, that's the MSN sound.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did I not recognize that?
While the public called for justice, institutional responses blurred the line between protecting children and scapegoating already marginalized groups. I'm not going to say that. You can go on to the next part.
So the aftermaths and the protests, there was huge community outrage and protests. In the days following Emanuel Jaques' murder, Toronto erupted into grief and anger.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Over 4,000 people attended the funeral at St. Ange's Church. Just days later, approximately 12,000 people, many from Toronto Portuguese communities, gathered in Nathan Phillips Square to protest.
In case you forgot. Just let everyone know again.
Recap.
Yeah.
This is one of the largest public demonstrations in the city's history up to that point.
That's really cool to know.
Justice for poor Emanuel.
Yeah.
The crowd called for justice, safety, and immediate change.
Okay.
Some signs demanded capital punishment.
Oh.
While others simply called for children to be protected. The Portuguese community leaders emphasized in the local editorial, they are not people thirsty for blood, but they are people desperate for safety.
Yeah, which we agreed with.
Yes. The Toronto Portuguese community rallies, and many were for the first time. The murder of Emanuel Jaques was a painful tipping point for many of the Portuguese immigrants who had lived in the margins of Toronto's civic life. For many families, it was the first time they participated in public protests or engaged in the political system.
Oh, wow.
It's sad sometimes that that's what it takes for people to feel even comfortable.
Like radicalized?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just wake up that way.
You and I
yeah.
are filled with our feminine rage.
That's right.
Justice. Emanuel's death made them visible in the media and in politics. But this was only because only because tragedy forced them to use their voices.
Yeah.
Which was kind of what I was just
Yeah, that's
saying.
funny
Yeah.
how you said that and then you read
and then
it.
I read forward if I had just waited 2 seconds.
You and I keep doing that.
So the protest was also a moment of profound unity. Neighbors, local businesses, faith leaders, working class immigrants all came together to express a collective message. Enough was enough.
Enough was enough.
Mm-hmm. This led to the Yonge Street cleanup. Oh, hi, Daisy.
Every time, without fail.
Val's dog, Daisy, loves me.
BFFs.
She's my best friend.
Honestly.
In response to the protest and the wave of media attention, the city of Toronto initiated what became known as the Yonge Street cleanup. This included a sweeping crackdown on body rub parlors, adult video and magazine shops, shoeshine stands, including those that were operated by children like Emanuel.
I wonder if it was like a shoeshine, like a front for something else.
I'm sure that there was. I'm sure that, like, there are still... I'm trying to figure out how to say this in an... Go ahead. I know you've got something up there.
No, it's loading still.
Oh. There are still things today where it's like runaways.
Yeah.
Runaways are, 12, 15 years old that are still being pulled aside and solicited.
Yeah.
And because they're desperate and they're alone, they're vulnerable to those type of situations. And I feel like it would be a similar situation given the economic situation that they were in, the fact that they were immigrants, political status that was going on in that time. So I wouldn't be surprised if the shoeshines were, some of them, used for something else.
I'll tell you.
Please do.
Yeah. Okay, so what did shoeshine stands officially do? Officially, they polished and buffed shoes for business people and pedestrians. They provided a quick, low-cost grooming service, often run by kids, especially from immigrant or low-income families like Portuguese, Italian, and Caribbean communities. Many were set up outside adult stores, arcades, or massage parlors, making their clientele mostly adult men. Okay, so that's already a precarious working situation. And then what's happening behind the scenes? According to investigations, police reports, and survivor accounts, some shoeshine stands, particularly in areas like Yonge and Dundas, exactly where he was, were fronts for child exploitation, including grooming and trafficking. Informal job sites where young boys were lured into dangerous situations under the guise of earning money, and connected to nearby sex trade operations, especially body rub parlors and adult theaters that proliferated before the Yonge Street cleanup. It wasn't just about shining shoes, it was about being seen and being vulnerable. These kids were right there in plain sight and no one protected them. In the wake of Emanuel Jaques' murder, the city,
so it's emphasizing what?
Okay, so you can go many sad. Businesses, It is sad,
Very sad. Very tragic.
Yeah.
Many businesses were shut down or heavily regulated. While the goal was to reduce crime and exploitation, these actions disproportionately affected working class people and sex workers.
Yeah.
Shoeshine stands, which had provided work for underprivileged youth, were banned, ironically removing one of the few income sources available for kids like Emanuel.
Yeah, but also removing like an immediate danger.
That's a rock and a hard place to think about.
You know what's crazy? Create a fucking economy where children don't have to work. That's the root of it. When you start being mad about superficial things, like this is just like a rule of thumb for me. Whenever I start being mad about like superficial things, not superficial, just like not actually superficial, surface level things, I try and look deeper, and it always leads back to the government. It's always leads back to the government, and you can always complain to somebody in the government. Never forget that. You can always chat GPT a letter to your government official.
If you're not good with words yourself.
If you're not good, I'm not good with it. I'm not good with that stuff. I get intimidated. I'm telling you, do it.
And Val is a warrior when it comes to this stuff. So.
Thank you. If you need help, send me an email. I'll help you.
She will.
I will straight up help you. I'll tell you what to type into ChatGPT. But yeah, I think it's very important to make sure our elected officials work. Please continue. Remember, we elected them. They work for us.
That's what I say all the time.
They work for us.
They work for us.
They're not celebrities. They work for us. Something's going wrong in your life, and it's a provincial responsibility. Contact your MPP. Something's going wrong in your life, and it's a federal responsibility. Contact your MP immediately. You don't have to be well spoken. Nothing. Just call them, bug them on Facebook. Doesn't matter. Make it work.
In this day and age, there are tons of ways of communicating.
I don't care. Yeah. Every single party should be working. Okay.
So there was media portrayal and moral panic. So the media played a significant role in how the aftermath unfolded. Many newspapers portrayed Yonge Street as the den of moral corruption, calling it Toronto's sin strip.
Well,
I mean,
sounds accurate for the time.
If it's a duck,
yeah.
If it quacks like a duck,
yeah.
Emanuel's murder became a symbol of everything wrong with the urban decay. But the framework was lacking nuance. The press often conflicted sex work, adult entertainment, and queer communities.
Conflated, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Because conflicted and conflated, it's a different sentence.
Stoking fear rather than promoting protection.
So they would combine the sex work community, the adult entertainment community, and the queer communities
all in one.
But queer communities arguably have nothing to do with the adult entertainment industry at all.
No.
Unless they choose to work in the adult entertainment industry or sex work industry. So
drag queens are a danger to our children.
They're not.
Okay.
Oh, I just kinked my neck when I did that. Oh, okay, keep going.
Learn not to incite rage.
No, don't incite rage. I'll kink my neck. I'm too old. I'm 35 this week.
So the narrative shifted from protecting vulnerable children to eradicating immorality.
Oh, and whose definition of immorality?
Yeah. Probably immoral people.
Yeah.
Laying the groundwork for broader crackdowns, including Operation Soap in 1981, when the police raided Toronto's gay bathhouses.
Horrible. No reason.
These raids, conducted under the guise of cleaning up the city, targeted innocent people and reinforced systematic discrimination. I couldn't say that word for a second there. It got stuck in my mouth.
You got it.
So, did this create meaningful safety or just shift blame? I think it kind of just shifted blame.
Yeah, 100%.
Emanuel's murder was undeniably
it undeniably catalyzed change.
Yes, thank you. I can't read today either.
You know what? It's been a long week. It's 8 p.m. at night.
It has been a long week. Yonge Street was transformed. Public pressure forced the city leaders to respond, but not all the changes were just or effective. Was safety involved? Superficially, yes. But while parlors and shops were forced to shut down, the structural issues, poverty, housing, insecurity, youth exploitation, all that still remained. And who was to blame?
So safety was not improved.
No.
Right. Gotcha.
No.
Gotcha.
Rather than targeting predatory men or improving protection for street kids, the system often blamed sex workers, LGBTQ communities, and urban poverty.
What the fuck?
They still do.
Yeah, they still do. That hasn't changed, has it?
You would think we would learn.
Not in 2025.
And was it just? Many would argue that it was not. I think not.
It was not.
No.
It was not.
The tragedy became a political tool. Rather than centering the life and loss of Emanuel Jaques, the response often veered to moral panic and overreach.
Yeah, and probably like a lot of speculation and hypotheticals and...
A Toronto-based scholar later wrote, "What happened after Emanuel's death told us more about who had power in the city and who didn't than it did about how to make sure it never happened again."
Wow.
That's a very accurate statement.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's par for the course of what happens after tragedy. There's no change made, even in our... Think about Carla Molka and Paul Bernardo here. What significant change was made to protect any child? I mean, but I say that and I haven't really looked at it. We'll talk about that on that episode when we get to it.
Yes. Well, Carla's out, has her own kids.
Yeah, it goes by a different name.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah.
The murder of Emanuel Jaques is one of Toronto's most enduring true crime tragedies. Nearly 50 years later, his story continues to evoke deep sorrow, anger, and reflection across generations. For many, Emanuel is more than a victim. He symbolizes how the most vulnerable in society are too often left unprotected until it's too late. And that's so true. It's like, it's like the cops wait until, we can't do anything until he actually hits you.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are you waiting why are you waiting till she gets hit?
And
or any person, or vice versa. Why are you waiting till he gets hit?
Speaking of things that don't change and under the guise of safety is actually restraining orders.
Yeah.
Statistically, you are 10 times more likely to be murdered by the person if you file a restraining order against them.
Because you're mad.
Well, because like the people who you're filing restraining orders against don't think like normal people.
Yeah.
So it's not like, hey, I should maybe step back and take a look at what my actions are doing and think about the consequences of what's going to happen if I go near this person. It goes into like blind rage. This person needs to be punished.
Yeah.
They need to face consequences.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Well, it's mental health.
Yeah. I've heard of
women
judges.
Women in STEM.
I've heard of judges actually giving women like head starts before they file restraining orders.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, you can
run. Yeah.
Run and protect yourself.
Oh my goodness. Like the movie Enough. I love that movie.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Yes.
We should watch it sometime.
I'm down.
Let us know if you want us to stream it.
Yeah, we will.
I'm really trying to get us into Twitch streaming. Okay, back to serious. The shock of Emanuel's death left an imprint on Toronto's collective memory. It still surfaces in conversations about urban safety, policing, and how we respond to the exploitation of children. His name has become shorthand for innocence, lost, and the failure of institutions to protect those they claim to serve. Mm-hmm. Emanuel's story is painfully common in one sense. He was a child from a working class immigrant family trying to help support his household who fell through the cracks of a system that offered him no safety net. He was poor, he was racialized, he was unmonitored in a city that pretended it was safe for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's such a problem that it's like pretending. Like just admit you're not safe and then you can see where you're not safe and be better. Yeah. At just 12 years old, Emanuel was doing a grown man's job in a deeply unsafe area. Yonge Street littered with adult businesses and overlooked youth. He had no protections in place and no resources available to keep him from harm. One activist looking back said, if a rich white child had gone missing, the city would have shut down Yonge Street overnight, but Emanuel had to die for people to pay attention. Mm-hmm. The case remains a chilling example of how poverty, racialization, and childhood intersect in dangerous ways, and how those most at risk are often the least visible to those in power.
That is actually a really powerful statement.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And this is how, like we've talked about Operation Soap a little bit. While Emanuel's death led to calls for justice and reform, it also fueled what many later recognized as a period of moral panic and scapegoating. In the immediate aftermath, adult entertainment businesses, sex workers, and queer communities were targeted as the root cause of social decay. No, the root cause of social decay is the government. The government. The root cause of social decay is the government. The government. This panic culminated in Operation Soap in 1981. Over 300 men were arrested. The raids were conducted under the guise of community protection and morality enforcement, but they were driven by stigma, not safety. That's crazy. Yeah. Morality enforcement, because the NRP, the Niagara Regional Police, recently said that they are not the morality police in a situation I personally witnessed, remember?
We talked about that, I think, 2 episodes ago.
I'm going to talk about it every time on air. Every time on air. Every time I got a chance to bring it up. What do you mean? So, in 81, we had the morality enforcement. And now the police aren't the morality enforcement. Gotcha. There
was a thing I saw the other day involving
very fun trend.
The ICE raids, because a lot of people are like, well, they're not here legally. Sometimes what is legal isn't right.
Most of the time.
And what is illegal isn't wrong.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's just what's... Many in the LGBTQ plus community have pointed to Emanuel's death as being weaponized by institutions to justify broader crackdowns on spaces that had nothing to do with the crime. As one queer historian reflected, the system couldn't protect Emanuel, but it was happy to punish people who had nothing to do with his death to appear like it had control. In this way, the legacy of Emanuel's story is complicated. It sparked a real and necessary reckoning, but also served as a cover for repression. Wow. The intersection, man. The intersection. This is why I'm an intersectional feminist. Not just this, but...
Lots
of reasons. But, like, it's... Wow. Though there are no public monuments dedicated to Emanuel, his memory lives on through storytelling, journalism, and literature. One of the most well-known accounts of the case appears in Robert J. Hoshowski's book, Outraged, The Murder of Shoeshine Boy Emanuel Jaques. The book offers a deeply researched narrative of the murder and its consequences, and it's widely regarded as one of the most respectful yet unflinching explorations of the case. Hoshowski wrote, I think it's Hoshowski.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who can't pronounce names.
We're doing our best.
I like it. We try.
We really do. Emanuel's death changed Toronto. It changed the city's layout. It changed the way people parented. It even changed the way we viewed innocence, but it didn't change who we choose to protect and who we didn't. So many just like mic drop statements.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
We're still protecting the men. I don't know why we're always protecting the men.
The patriarchy is a big part
I know
of all
exactly
of our problems.
Are you ready for our current case?
I'm down.
Here's where we'll put in the music. And I'll do this one too. Speaking of systemic exploitation today, consider the recent case in May 2025, so just a couple months ago, a human trafficking ring in southern Ontario that targeted migrant workers. Wow.
Do tell.
Wow. So there was an investigation in 2018 by the CBSA, which I think is the Canadian Border Security Agency, and the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, began looking into labor exploitation in Hamilton, Niagara. I didn't realize this was so close to home. By May 22nd, 2025, authorities announced that 3 individuals had pled guilty and were sentenced after operating a network that smuggled and exploited dozens of foreign nationals.
You know what? I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
By the Niagara part. Because we are a border city.
Yeah.
And I actually have heard of several different stories of houses in our city being cracked down and raided.
Oh, my Lord.
Like, there's one in Thorold that's happened twice before you go under the bridge.
Right.
There's one house in that area that's been cracked down twice. They've gone in.
Where you think it's like a holding house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's probably like hundreds of them in there.
Yeah.
That's awful.
I don't know the full details of that case because it happened a while ago, so it's not fresh in my mind. But I do remember it being in like...
Oh my God, the local politicians are knocking on that door. Will you vote for... Putting a thing under the door. Wow. Okay, primarily temporary foreign workers brought to Canada. Okay, so the victims were primarily temporary foreign workers brought to Canada under the premise of legitimate jobs, then forced into exploitative labor in crowded, unsafe housing. Gross, guys. Remember the food we eat? It's picked by these people.
Yeah.
Okay, and they deserve dignity.
The job you don't want.
The job you don't want. And also think of your job, the job that you do, and how like you're mad to be at your job some days, but you have to do your best for a thing. Mm-hmm. Same with these people.
Yeah.
One investigation found 84 individuals living in deplorable conditions with up to 25 people crammed in a single home, some infested with bed bugs or cockroaches. Ugh, that's awful. Nobody deserves to live in that. And then not being paid.
Yeah.
Ugh. Mario Roca Morales pled guilty to 3 counts of human trafficking in February 2024. And in April 2025 was sentenced to 8.5 years in prison.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know if that's enough.
It's not, but at least it's... You know what? It's something
it's
for
something,
Canada.
Yeah. 2 others, Christian Vitella and Muriel Bracamonte, received conditional sentences and probation after pleading guilty to related charges of employing foreign workers without authorization. A CBSA official stated the charges and subsequent sentencing reflect a comprehensive investigation and our unwavering commitment to preserving the integrity of Canada's immigration system. This illustrates that while law enforcement is taking trafficking seriously, the victims remain vulnerable. And why does this matter in 2025? Well, it has parallels to Emanuel's story. Both involve invisible, vulnerable populations. Mm-hmm. Emanuel as a child immigrant and today's migrant workers, all marginalized and overlooked until something went tragically wrong. And that's just fucking slavery.
Yeah.
That's fucking slavery.
Straight up.
That's just clicking in my mind. That's just fucking slavery. Awful.
I keep realizing people can't actually see my reaction. Yeah. I keep making facial expressions and nodding along with you. Yeah.
And there also systemic exploitation persists. Despite increased awareness and legal action, exploitative labor practices continue unchecked, especially among newcomers and temporary workers. Like your farmer buddy, check on him.
Yeah.
Check on your farmer bud. Make sure he's paying his employees. And this is a visibility-driven response. Just as Emanuel's death drove policy change, some protective, some punitive, this case shows that exploitation becomes visible only after horror, prompting reactive action rather than proactive support. Did the trafficking rings exposure push us to strengthen migrant worker protections? I mean, they just happened, so hopefully.
You know what? I haven't heard anything about it at all
hopefully
since it's happened.
But who's going to go to so migrant workers, I guess that's a federal thing?
I'm not sure.
Probably a federal thing. Yeah, CBSA. Yeah, that's immigration. Yeah. Or did it risk swinging public opinion towards scapegoating, similar to how Emanuel's case unjustly led to the crackdown and moral policing of other communities? Like, I mean, I guess we don't know if the people arrested were truly responsible. Like, was Mario the guy making all the arrangements? I guess he must have been.
Yeah.
He must have been. This case brings our episode full circle from a 12-year-old boy exploited on Yonge Street in 1977 to migrant workers exploited in 2025. The real question, are we learning from the past or just resurfacing the same vulnerabilities through different faces?
That one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Well, creeps, thank you for sticking with us through a heavy but important episode. Emanuel Jaques' story reminds us just how much work there is to do when it comes to protecting the most vulnerable in our communities and how we can't afford to look away.
If this story stirred something in you, whether it's outrage, heartbreak, or curiosity, don't let it fade. Ask the hard questions. Talk about it. Learn more. And don't forget that there aren't just stories from the past. They are echoed today.
These aren't just stories from the past. Yeah. They echo today, yeah. And you can hear more of Amanda's thoughtful Canadian content right here on Canadian Creepies. She joins me for select episodes like this one and just more to come. And we love having her insight and perspective.
And if you want to get even weirder, my paranormal series Down the Crooked Path drops new episodes every Thursday, just like Canadian Creepies. So you can double up and binge both, or stretch them out across your week like a little creepy sandwich.
It's the haunted double feature that you didn't know you needed.
Follow Canadian Creepies and Down the Crooked Path on Instagram to stay up to date. And if you have a hometown horror, creep of the week nominee, or a current case you think deserves the spotlight, send it our way. You can reach us at canadiancreepies@gmail.com. We do read everything, and you just might hear your submission in an upcoming episode.
Thanks for listening, and as always, stay creepy, Canada. Nice. Nailed it. One take.
Woohoo!
Thank you to Kyle McDonald for editing and composing our theme song.